Hi, this is Tracy, and I did this app, iOS ARKit app that I'm calling SketchAR, and it allows you to put house-size models into augmented reality. And I'm going to try to step through it and show you how I did it. So the first thing you want to do is go to developer.apple.com ARKit, or just Google it, you'll find it. If you scroll down here, you can find a few different helpful pieces. What we are going to get is this zip file down here. It says wwdc placing objects.zip kind of a thing. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it over here. I'm a nerd, so I'm just going to wget it so I know it winds up in the right place. And what this does is this will allow you to put a candle, a coffee cup, a flower vase, and all that kind of stuff. And like on level flat surfaces. They sort of showed this off in one of their demos. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unzip this. And we get a bunch of files. And we're going to come right back to that. Okay, so I have a model here in SketchUp, and I'm calling it roofless.skp. That's the extension. So I'm going to go ahead and open that in SketchUp because I want to show you one really important thing you want to do before you get into this. And go ahead and start using SketchUp. Go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so this is my model, and orbit. And just quickly overview, we're going to remove a wall here, put in a beam, do this sort of tower thing, extend the deck, and so on. But why I'm showing you this right now is because if you look at this model, for SketchUp it's in a good place. It's right in the corner. This sort of XYZ model coordinates. However, what's going to be really important is trying to make sure you know where you start every time when you place the model. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select the whole model and do M for move, and I'm going to lock the axis when I move just so we don't go up in Z. And what I'm trying to do is get that red, green, blue axis as close to the feet of the guy as possible. See if I did that about right. It's close. Let me, okay. Not the best at moving entire models, but you can see that the axis kind of comes right up, the little blue axis comes right up near the guy's feet. And when we sort of scroll out, there's our red axis down here and our green axis going out here. So the model's, roughly in the right place. The center, that's where we're going to start when we drop it in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now I'm going to export this as a 3D model. This puts it in a DAE format, or collada, right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. And I don't think you have to mess with options. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's all pretty good. So just go ahead and export. Oops. And this will make a little, we can go ahead and quit SketchUp now. And I'll show you what we just did. So what this did was it made this roofless DAE file and a roofless directory. And inside the roofless directory are a bunch of assets. So in this case, it's textures and things like that. Okay, so remember we downloaded that zip, so we're going to go into placing objects. And I happen to be, like I said, a command line nerd, so That's the Xcode project. You could do this through a Finder, but I'm just going to do it this way. ARKit. Doesn't really matter how you open this. But you need the Xcode beta. It should be coming out very soon, maybe this week or within a few weeks. So this will be the Xcode beta, and that will allow you to do ARKit. And you'll need a new iPhone as well. So, yeah, okay, so it's taking a little bit of time here. It's loading the ARKit example. Let's make this nice and big. And nicely it gives you the README, so if you want to look through that, you can. Also, you can, if you want to shortcut to this, I should point out there's a GitHub repo, which I will include a link to and to this zip, so you can just, if you're comfortable with Git, you can pull down my entire repo and do it that way if you like to. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look in our resources folder, and this is where I was mentioning the default app. If we do nothing, you can basically, yeah, this is basically it. So you can sort of rotate around this, and you'll see a candle show up in your 3D world. This is sort of the model in the assets view. So all we have to do is make a new directory, new folder, and I'll call this one, I'll call this one SketchUp. So we know where it is. And you go ahead and I'll just open this in a Finder so it's a little less dorky, a little less geeky. Let me get this over here, sorry. And I open up my SketchUp folder, or have it ready to go. And all I have to do is take that DAE model and the subdirectory. You need to put those both in there, and you put them here. And we're basically making it similar to this sort of layout. So they've got this textures subdirectory. We're basically doing the same thing. You want to leave the names pretty much the same, just so you don't mess things up. So now we've got this little DAE, and what I can do is you can click on it, which is great, and sort of see it. And what we want to do is say, go to the editor, and let's see, there's a little export thing. Oh, there we go. Convert to SceneKit, this SCN right here kind of a thing. So I'm going to go ahead and convert it, the DAE to SCN. Just go ahead and say convert. And now it's an SCN. So there we go, it goes ahead and load. Other people have mentioned this. I think it's worth doing. I always have to get used to how both of these do rotations and models. But you want to find that camera here and just go ahead and delete it. You don't need it. Okay, so that's our model. And it's pretty much going to load at the right XYZ axis because we saved it out before, right there. And it should. But the thing you need to do, which is really not easy for me to figure out how to do. There we go. So now we can see the red, green, blue axes, which is right near the person, which is exactly what we want. And that's very important because otherwise the model will wind up ahead of you or way over your head or something. So you hit this drawer, and it breaks down your model into lots of stuff. We don't really care too much. Click the SketchUp thing. That's going to select all of it. Now, here's the really weird thing. And this is the hard thing for me to find. Both that drawer that I just showed you here, which is right down here, in case you close it. Oops. Open your drawer, select the whole model. Now you've selected all. Now go over here to this side. This will automatically open. And there's this Euler X coordinate. You want to switch that to -90. And it's going to flip. But if you don't, it's going to flip in the app when you mess with it, when you actually launch it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just manually rotate that around. It's always a little hard. I have a trackpad. There we go. And we can go ahead and click off. Okay, so that's pretty good. I've already paired up a phone, sort of a burner phone, that has iOS 11. It's to my left, which you can't see. But I've paired it up so it will wirelessly copy things over. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So by default, it's loading this. So when you hit play now, oh yeah, there's two other things I forgot to do. So I need to open, there's a JSON file, it's this one. This one, you just want to copy. This is kind of the only programming, we're just copying JSON. So I just selected it, I copied it, I'm going to move this up to the top. You want to make sure you get your commas right. The indentation doesn't matter too much. And you just change this. So you say SketchUp, and display name is SketchUp. Oops, spell it correctly. And that will make the little menu that you'll see in my other videos show the SketchUp model. Okay, so that means the model is now going to show up, and I think the last thing that's going to fail, we'll just hit build again, is it's going to complain about my developer iOS key. That always takes me a second. I've done it. You can do a free one. You don't have to pay and be a developer. What I have not. It always takes me a second to find this, but let's see. So I don't use Xcode a lot. Yeah. So if I click on the ARKit overall thing, we can see that I don't have a team, and there's a big womp womp right here. So I just go ahead, and I've already done this little free thing. It's really easy. It just sets up a little sign-in key for you. That's all, just so you can identify you based on your iOS and your Apple ID. So there's my Apple ID. That happens to be my email. Don't spam me. And now it's all set up. So now I just go ahead and hit play. Oh, so there's one other thing I forgot. The scale is usually pretty wacky and off, even though the SketchUp scale is right. So I found that I needed about 3%. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch all scales. It was sort of hit or miss to 0.03. And I can't exactly tell you why I have to do that. I don't know if it's like sort of a little bit of a bug, but if I didn't do that, it came out pretty weird. Like way too wrong of a scale. So. Okay, so I made my app crash because there's one other thing I forgot. It's been a whole week since I did this. So we need to basically make, it's looking for some thumbnails. So if we go in assets, XC assets, it's actually sort of a folder of various PNGs. We can sort of see these little things. This is what you see in the menu, more or less. So we need to go ahead and copy these, and I think we can just go ahead and copy. If we can, I can do it on the command line, but we should be able to copy this somehow. Well, let's go ahead and show in Finder. That'll be fine. And we'll copy it here. So then we'll just say duplicate. And we're going to rename this SketchUp, because that's what it's going to look for. .ImageSet. And we don't really care what what they look like or what's in there. There's this little contents JSON file. Whoops, I don't want to launch that editor. But we should see it down here. And I think that's going to suffice to go ahead and add that. I did it a little bit differently before, but that should go ahead and... Okay, and there's one last thing. I know I've said that a couple times, but you want to make sure these positions are zeroed out, because otherwise your model's going to wind up in sort of hyperspace in some bizarre thing. So that makes sure that we can sort of see the green, red, blue axes. They're all in the right place where the guy's going to show up. The position's at 0, 0, 0. Euler's at -90, and I did 3% for the scale. You just have to kind of do that to taste. Something is kind of wonky with the scaling, because SketchUp has done the proper scaling. So I'm going to go ahead and actually send it to the phone for the first time. I have a iOS 11 beta phone here, and it's an iPhone, I think it's a 7, but you can do this on a 6S as well, as long as you're running iOS 11 in currently beta, but it should be out soon. So it's launching. It takes a few seconds. It's like downloading it from the App Store. You just see it on your desktop and click. You can see my other videos where you will see it in action. And it says initializing AR session. The camera's lit now. It says tracking normal. There's a little square running around my desk here. Find a surface to place an object. I'm going to go ahead and hit plus. There's this little square floating to the left of me on my desk. I hit the plus sign at the bottom of the app. You can see the other videos for this, but this is just their normal app. And now instead of just candle, cup, vase, lamp, and chair, which are all cool, and I encourage you to play with those as well, I can hit the SketchUp model. And boom! There it is. I'm rotating my camera around me, and I am inside the model, and in fact, I am right more or less on the floor of this guy's shoes. And what I can do is you can kind of gently pull down from the top of the screen or from like the side, and you'll sort of translate the model. You can also use 2 fingers and pinch and zoom. So like if I were to just go outside where the model, I'm in an office right now, I'm sort of in behind here. But what I would do is I would just go over to the kitchen, which you can see in my videos, and just translate the model over. And then you can walk through the house and see all the new stuff. It's a total hoot. I encourage you all to play with the ARKit. It's going to change your and my life. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this was illustrative. Not too bad. As you might have noticed, we didn't do any programming. All we had really to do is copy some assets around, add some things, export, and modify a JSON file. So I thought I was going to have to do a lot of Swift. We didn't have to do much Swift. So good luck and have fun. Thanks.